Beneath the mist of an ancient river, a forgotten world clings to the cliffs and forests. Here, coal towns once roared with life and now stand abandoned, their saloons and opera houses silent under creeping vines. Hidden islands hold graves of miners and plague victims lost to time. Fossils of ancient trees and sea creatures still press against the canyon walls, telling stories millions of years old. Bats roost in old mine shafts, while waterfalls tumble over secret sandstone ledges, known only to the boldest adventurers. And if you're daring enough, you can even walk a steel catwalk suspended hundreds of feet above it all. Today, we're peeling back the layers of one of America's most haunting and beautiful places. I'm Ash, and I'm the daughter.
I'm Liz, and I'm the mom.
And this is The Lesser Known. So today we're talking about New River Gorge National Park. But before we do, let's do the question of the day, which is, do you collect anything? And if so, what is it?
I was looking around the house after you asked me this question. I was looking for collections of things, and I have a bunch of collections I don't want, of Amazon boxes that I haven't broken down and dumb stuff like that. So I don't know if those are called collections, but that's more like clutter. If I don't actually try to collect anything, but the closest thing I come to a collection is plants. I'm trying to build a little plant collection, but they seem to keep dying, and I don't really know why. So I'm joining some Reddit groups and stuff to try to keep my plants alive, keep my collection alive.
I would say plants are a collection, but the other thing, the Amazon boxes, I think that has a name. I think it's called hoarding.
All right.
And you should get rid of them.
I try. They just come faster than I can get rid of them.
How much stuff are you buying?
You know I buy everything online. You see it.
But
we're on the same Amazon account. You can probably see every single day I'm ordering things. And I'm actually trying not to, but we're going out of town. So it's I need a bunch of stuff. And so I'm oh, I just can't get rid of them as fast as they're coming. It is a problem.
I think there's another problem lying in there that you need to figure out.
Shopaholicism.
Yeah. There's multiple layers to this.
What's your collection?
My collection is, so I used to collect shot glasses everywhere I went. But when I moved to Arizona, they all broke. So I was well, I'm not going to collect that anymore. So I collect a mix of coffee mugs at the places that I go. But when me and Jeremy go somewhere, we collect magnets for places that we've gone, or Christmas ornaments, one of those two.
I thought you were going to say the shot glasses, because that's every time we go somewhere, we get you a shot glass. But now I guess maybe not. And I thought you're not allowed to get any more mugs. I thought you were banned from the mugs.
As long as I get rid of one.
It's a one in, one out system.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
I don't have any magnets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I keep it that way, though. I don't want it the front of my refrigerator isn't metal because nothing sticks to it, so you have to put everything on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. So we put all the magnets on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking up funny national park stuff. I didn't find anything too crazy, but I have a national park. There was a tweet that they did. It was kind of funny. It said, hiking groups, bears like to have options.
Oh.
But then there was the reviews are pretty funny. They're just long. But one of them is short. It's Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Someone left a review saying, was hoping for more. 1 star for the one buffalo I saw, and the wild horses looked just like regular horses. And I'm I don't know what you were thinking.
Yeah. They had longer manes. They were more flowing hair.
Right.
Or they're going to have a 5 o'clock shadow or something. What did you want?
Yeah, I don't know what they thought, but I thought that was
cowboy
funny.
Hats.
I'm what were you expecting? So I didn't have a whole lot about this. It's mostly just history stuff, but there's a lot of abandoned mines and stuff. So that's kind of what we'll talk about. So New River Gorge National Park stretches along the New River, obviously. between the towns of Hinton and Fayetteville in West Virginia. And I'm sure I'm saying that wrong and people are going to come at us from West Virginia. But it's fine. I did my best. It looks like that. It's part of the Okay. So I was told when I was visiting like a military unit that people not from the area call it this. So we say Appalachian
Mhm.
Mountains. I guess it is Appalachian. I don't know, but
I've heard it both ways,
I know
and
me
I never
too,
know
but
either.
someone in Alabama was like, "Oh, of course you'd say it like that cuz you're not from here."
What
I'm
did they
like, "What
say?
does that mean?" Appalachian, I think.
I think you're right, because I think when I hear people like that seem like they're from the area, they say it that way. And I know
Mhm.
what they're talking about because think about it. Grew up in Hobart, Indiana. Everyone would say Hobart because you're not from there.
Or Illinois.
Hmm. That's just wrong.
I know. But people say it that aren't from
Oh,
there. They're like, "Oh,
yeah.
you're from Illinois."
Mm.
Anyway, so it's part of the Appalachian Mountains and covers over 70,000 acres of land. It's the 45th largest national park out of 63, so it's fairly small. Back in the day, before it was a park, it was used for coal mining, lodging, and other industries in the region. It was designated a national river in 1978 by Jimmy Carter and became a national park and preserve in 2020 by President Trump, making it the newest national park. The park gets on average 1.2 million visitors a year, and out of those visitors, approximately 7 people die a year, with the most common cause of death being drowning, and this makes it the 7th most dangerous park in the US.
So it's one of the smallest but most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And 2020,
Yeah, so soon.
it was just like, I was going to say yesterday, but you always give me a hard time when I say that. But basically, I mean, I think we got Jason in 2020 or 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Jason's a dog. I know you know, but you know.
Yeah. But it's crazy because it was only a year later after Indiana Dunes, because I think Indiana Dunes was 2019
Was it
and
really?
2020. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, it does get a lot of visitors, though, which I was surprised for being so small. And it looks like some place that I would really want to go. It looks so pretty. Did you look up pictures?
I did, yeah. It looks like very forested.
And I'd like to visit on a specific day that we'll talk about in just a second.
I think I
Because it
know.
sounds like a lot of fun.
Maybe.
You probably do. I told you the most common cause of death was drowning, and that makes sense because a lot of this park is made up of water, hence the name New River Gorge. But the name is actually contradicting because it's the second oldest river on Earth. So they named it New River, but it's the second oldest
On Earth?
on Earth, like not
How do
just the
people know
US.
that kind of stuff?
Because, so it's estimated to be between 260 and 325 million years old. And it even predates the Appalachian Mountains, cutting through them as they rose over time. It's also unique because most rivers in the US flow south, but the New River flows north through the US states, North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. And that's one way that they have like determined how old it is because of the way it flows.
Hmm.
And then much of the rivers, and I thought it was pretty interesting too. Another way that they measure the age of the river is by how many bends and curves it has, how old the valley is surrounding it, and how deep the water cuts into the riverbed, and the age of the sediment carried by the river. So that's how they can tell. It's like all those things together.
That's really cool.
I know, I thought it was crazy because I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, how? Because part of my intro, I was going to use that phrase, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And that's what we ask
Hmm.
ourselves in today's episode. What came first, the mountains or the river?
Right.
But
Yeah.
they made it clear that it was before the mountains were there. So
So it almost dug the, sounds stupid. It almost kind of like dug the mountains in a way.
no, I
Like
thought
it
that
went
too,
through.
but the
Yeah.
mountains were formed by tectonic plates. So they were just like crashing up against it, but the river like kept it
Mm.
that like, you know what I mean? Like while the mountains were forming around it, the
Hmm.
river just kept carving. And so
Yeah.
it like didn't make it deeper. It just stayed the same.
Got it.
Not only is the river 360 miles long, but it's also the deepest river gorge east of the Mississippi River, with its deepest point being 1,000 feet. That's
That's crazy
crazy.
for a river, right? I feel like
I
lakes
think
and
so.
ocean, that's like really deep, but a river.
I thought so too, because I only hear of them going to like 150. Like any
Yeah.
river that I've whitewater rafted, I think the most was 150, and that was in Colorado. Before the bridge was built in 1977, traffic had to take the long scenic route through the gorge. It took nearly 3 years to finish the bridge and $37 million, which is equivalent to $175 million in 2020 dollars. Finally, on October 22nd, 1977, New River Gorge Bridge officially opened and cut traffic down by 40 minutes. The bridge is now a well known landmark of the gorge and is one of the most photographed bridges in the country.
Hmm.
It also has some pretty impressive stats, including being the fifth longest single span arch bridge in the world, spanning 3,030 feet long and rises 876 feet above the rapids below, making it the third highest vehicular bridge in the US. And it weighs 88 million pounds.
Insane. I would
Yeah.
be so scared to go over that bridge.
Hmm, I wouldn't, but I also went over that rickety old bridge in Switzerland.
It's true.
Jeremy was freaking out. He was shaking. I'm like running across it and it's wobbling and because it was like swaying because it was windy, but I was also running.
Were there like guardrails on each side or was it just rope?
It was like wire.
That's it.
You could definitely slip through there if you weren't
If you
careful
wanted.
or if you wanted, I guess. So this bridge was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2013, despite not yet reaching 50 years old. The bridge was listed for its extraordinary impact on local transportation and its engineering significance. It only took 2 years after the bridge opened for someone to realize it made a great place to intentionally throw oneself off of it with the intention of surviving. This man was a coal miner foreman named Burton Irvin who base jumped from the bridge. This got a lot of attention from the local press, and someone was quoted as famously suggesting, "They're going to keep coming. We might as well make some money off of it." So they decided to make it a tradition annually. So on that day, every year, it's called Bridge Day. And it gets like tons of people from all over who base jump. So it's every third Saturday in October since 1980. The New River Gorge Bridge has become the only place in the National Park Service Dominion where it is legal to base jump. The first years saw only 5 jumpers and 1 hit the rocks.
Oh
In
God.
yeah, in a fluke twist for a sport known for its fatalities, he walked away with a broken jaw and missing most of his teeth, but
What?
dismissed officials' concerns that the fledgling festival was dangerous by insisting to a Charleston Daily Mail reporter that base jumping was safer than marriage. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, what does
I
that
don't
even
know.
mean?
I guess
He
maybe he was
clearly
going
did not
through
have a happy
something.
marriage.
Yeah, he was definitely going through something when he threw
Yeah,
himself off
right.
of there. He's like, well, at least this time I only walked away with a broken jaw. It's like, dang, your wife's beating you. In its present incarnation, Bridge Days participants are capped at 450, with strict rules as to how many skydivers they must have under their belts before base jumping at the bridge. So,
So
like,
you
how many
so you have to have
skydives, not skydivers.
sky dove or dived, sky dove, whatever, before. And do you get like a ticket for the next year, or is it like
I'm sure they just look so like skydivers have like a logbook kind of like I do for
hmm,
flying, and they probably look at like how many times they've done it, and then based on that they're like, okay, you can do that.
I would absolutely never do that ever. I would never bungee jump.
I
I would never cliff dive. I would never,
oh
never. I would skydive. God, like my mind went blank for a second. I would definitely skydive, but the other things where you go down and then bounce back up, or even go into
mm-mm.
water, that's not for me.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I thought you were going to say that's the day that you would go.
No, that's
You
the
know.
day I would go watch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think I would skydive because it's not that high off the ground. It's only like 800 feet.
Yeah, it's just like not enough time.
Yeah, but I watched a video and it was really cool. There's like so many people there cheering you on. But spectators number in the tens of thousands, particularly to watch daredevils fling themselves into the ravine below, but also to enjoy familiar scenery from a new vantage point, as the festival marks the only day in which foot traffic of any kind is permitted on the bridge. That's why I'd want to go. Because that's the only day you
Oh.
can walk on it.
Oh, I didn't know that. So only cars are allowed the rest of the
Yeah.
year. Well,
Yeah,
that'd
but
be
you
fun. I
can
wonder if they
do...
block off the cars for this.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that would be cool. Almost like a little street festival or something on the bridge.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they have like a catwalk that goes under the bridge, and you can walk under that too,
At all
which I thought was
times or
cool.
no?
I think it's a guided tour. But yeah, there's people that just like sit on it and watch
Hmm.
people jump off.
That would be pretty fun, I guess.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
people like on top of the bridge and they're like, watching, but then you can go under the bridge on the catwalk
Hmm.
and then watch from there. This park is also home to one of the world's first resorts dedicated to outdoor adventures, including whitewater rafting. Commercial whitewater rafting began in 1968, and as the sport grew in popularity, the region became known as a whitewater rafting destination with Class 2 and 3 rapids, which are pretty high because I think it only goes up to 4.
I would never whitewater raft.
It's not that scary. Although this national park is a great place for water activities, it offers other adventurous activities as well. There are 73 official hiking trails, cliff jumping, over 1,400 rock climbing spots, camping, and 60 abandoned mining towns. Some notable ones include Brooklyn Ruins, Kaymore Mines, Thurmond, and Red Ash Island. The Brooklyn Ruins are the remains of one of the last mining camps developed on the New River. You can access it via a short drive down a gravel road located off the Cunard River access area, and that will take you right to it. You'll start to see signs of the town at the parking area for Brooklyn Trail. I thought that was cool. Like you'll see
Hmm.
the original signs. About half a mile onto the Brooklyn Trail, the remains of an old company store lie on the trail's right side, and soon after that, the trail opens up to a clearing. Scattered throughout the woods are the foundations and remains of Brooklyn's houses. And at first, it might seem like just a pile of stuff, but you can like see the chimneys and stuff and know that
Hmm.
that was their house. The town of Brooklyn was established in the 1890s around the same time as the coal mine of the same name. The town's post office, however, was under the name Finlow, and in 1910, the population of Brooklyn/Finlow was around 166 people.
That's
I
really
know,
small.
really small.
Get those ghost towns. They're so cool. I love the ghost town stuff.
Yeah, I think you'll get a lot of stuff from the mines and the Red Ash Island, I hope. Finlow Mine was in operation from 1894 to 1895, so only a year. And the Brooklyn Mine was from 1896 to 1904. Brooklyn, being one of the last mining camps to be developed in the New River area, was permanently closed in the late 1950s, so it wasn't there very long. Kaymore Mines is another coal mine that's a bit more difficult to reach because of how steep the incline is. It's one of the biggest of the many coal mines in this area of West Virginia, but was abandoned in the 1960s. The site has multiple levels, which workers and families once traversed via a steam-powered mountain haulage, and that contained company houses and stores. The area by the river where coal was processed and transported out on trains, and the bench level, where most of the mining was done. Despite being abandoned decades ago, Kaymore remains one of the most intact mining towns and is full of buildings and equipment characteristics of West Virginia's mining history. It's about a 1-mile hike that takes visitors to the site's upper level, and an 821-step staircase was built by the National Park Service that leads to the mining buildings, equipment, and the remnants of the tracks that was used to transport people, coal, and machinery up and down the mountainside. And it even said, if you look carefully, you can still spot some pieces of coal.
Oh.
So that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Are you allowed to take it home or no?
I don't know. I feel like that would be asking for a curse.
That's true. I wound up sending it back with a note.
Yeah.
Please forgive me
like
for
in
taking
Hawaii.
this of coal.
The next ghost town is the ghost town of Thurmond, which was once one of the richest towns in West Virginia and holds the record for hosting the world's longest poker game. The town was founded in the 1900s by a Confederate captain named W.D. Thurmond, who received 73 acres of land in 1873 as payment for a military surveying job. The land wasn't terribly valuable, until a deal was struck in 1892 to run a railway right through the Thurmond property. Suddenly, Captain Thurmond owned a town, which soon grew to host an important clientele of traveling businessmen and coal barons. During Thurmond's most prosperous days, it served as a coal mining depot in the early 20th century. Thurmond didn't drink, though, so he ended up banning all alcohol from his business, or from any business and his land. And so, like, yeah, which is crazy because there's like traveling businessmen and coal
Mm-hmm.
barons. And I feel like at that time, it was like
You're just asking
people
for
just drink a
bootleggers
lot.
at that point.
Yeah. So after he banned that, just outside his self-directed jurisdiction, so like, right outside where he said you can't have it, there was a district that quickly sprung up the locals called Ballyhack, and it was known as like the red light district area of that time. Like a speakeasy feel.
Mm-hmm.
It was in this district that the McKell family opened an upscale hotel called the Dun Glen in 1901. It was a massive 3-story, 100-room resort that boasted a large ballroom, which often hosted live music and large parties that old tales tell lasted until sunrise. At the Dun Glen, the bars didn't close, the booze flowed freely, and gambling was a favorite pastime. During these years, legend and the Guinness Book of World Records has it that the poker game began in the Dun Glen and lasted for 14 years. Just,
No.
yes, because people,
No.
yes, because people would keep coming in and switching. Like they'd tap each other out and it would keep going. And it's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I'm skeptical. I believe in ghosts, but not that poker game.
Well, maybe some of your ghosts will have something to say about it.
Yeah, we'll see.
There were no roads that led in or out of the town until 1921, when a single-lane bridge crossing the new river was constructed. Yet by this time, the town's coal-dependent population had begun to dwindle, with the town's fate being sealed in 1935, when Thurmond's only bank collapsed. Once connected to the outside world by a single train track, now the ghost town is looked after by the National Park Service. And then finally is Red Ash Island. And I don't know why, I just thought this was the coolest thing, even though there wasn't a lot of information on it. It was just cool.
So, I told you I started looking into this already.
Mm.
Everything I looked into is basically this island.
Oh, nice. I mean, I like don't have a lot about it because it did seem like there was a lot of ghosty stuff, but I'll give you a background. In the mid 1890s, Red Ash Island was first utilized as a pest house for those afflicted with smallpox. Patients were sent to the island to live until they recovered or until they died. Those who succumbed to the illness were buried on site. Grave sites were added in the subsequent years after mining disasters and an influenza outbreak. The cemetery collected over 200 graves, many of which are unmarked or have since become overgrown and absorbed by the forest. Only a handful of tombstones remain.
Yeah, that's basically all the stuff I heard too. It was there were a lot of like mining disasters too.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least 2 major ones, and so that's going to be part of what I'm going to talk about, and the smallpox thing, because that was a big deal. Like, it was just kind of like sad that like everyone would get smallpox, and they were saying the hospitals wouldn't take them in, so they would just send them off to this island. Which is the thing that's sad about it is you already feel sick, you're not well, you're dying, and then they're just going to like ship you off to this place. You can't be with your family. I thought that was really sad.
Yeah. And if you look at the pictures, it looked like they just had like little like stone
I didn't see
rooms.
any. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't see any pictures or anything yet, but just like the history and background of it, I was like, oh, that's so sad. I mean, most of them didn't make it out, so it's like, if you're going there, then that's pretty much it.
Yeah. But that's all I have for New River.
Cool. Yeah, it seems that it actually is a lot more stuff than I thought. Because when I heard New River Gorge, I'm like, what the heck is New River Gorge? I had never heard of this before. And I started looking it up. I was like, oh, it's actually like pretty legit. And the only reason I think we didn't hear about it was because it like basically just became a national park.
Yeah.
So I guess it wouldn't really be on everyone's radar yet.
Yeah, I guess they're looking at doing a new national park too in Wisconsin. Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but it's already like a national something.
Monument or
yeah,
whatever they do first.
Mm-hmm.
Very
But
cool,
yeah, that's all I
cool.
had for New River Gorge.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we'll
Good
see you next
episode.
week for the ghost stories of New River Gorge.
All right. See you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.